basketball, football, baseball, and more. This is the X Sports Network.
Great food is just a short drive to Hinies BBQ in Lawrenceburg. Mouth-watering is just one way to describe the amazing flavors of the best piece of Hiney in town. When you dig into a plate of pulled pork, hand-chopped brisket, chicken, wood-fire oven pizzas, and the menu goes on. Wash it all down with a swig of Hiney Shine lemonade and then make your way over to the gift shop full of Hiney sauces, snacks, and more. Hinies BBQ, Highway 43 North in Lawrenceburg.
And welcome everybody here to X Sports Live here from Hinies BBQ. AJ Good joined alongside Clint Brazier, and about 15 minutes late than what we normally start. But, we had a little things go down a little bit late. You got Ben Luna, who's chasing storm clouds. He's looking for storm clouds.
Right.
Cam's at church. He's looking for Jesus. So
and we don't know where Kevin is.
We don't know where Kevin is. He's a silent assassin sometimes.
So big shout out to Will Pettis.
Not only did he produce a great documentary
that we're going to talk about tonight,
he saved us.
That's right.
Here tonight. It was going to be me producing this, and it probably would have been an absolute disaster.
Yeah, it might have been our last show.
Right before the wrestling show. We can't do that. Yeah,
that one's locked in.
Well, Clint, it's been a busy week. Obviously, the second full week for high school softball, high school baseball. Started off with the Summertown side of things. Softball team looking pretty good so far here. They're supposed to play tonight. Obviously didn't play, but 8-1 on the season, and played a good Wayne County team the other night and came away with a pretty convincing win.
Yeah, I think 7-0 was the final score. Wayne County's a pretty good team. I kind of expect them to maybe go pretty deep in single A this year. But 8-1, great start, as we'd said last week. Coach Burleson's took probably, I think he would tell you, more talented teams to that Gulf Coast Invitational and never finished in the championship game. And he took this bunch down there, and they went 7-1 and get off to a great start. Supposed to play Forest tonight, which is always a great rivalry game, an old sub-state game that Summertown and Forest used to have some wars in. But I think they're going to play that game tomorrow, if I read right. And I think a lot of our schools we're going to cover probably got pushed back tonight and going to play tomorrow. So they just keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, baseball-wise, picked up a win against Lawrence County on Monday. Went and played a very good Athens team yesterday, and unfortunately lost.
Came down to the end.
Lost in walk-off fashion, but had a kind of a tough start of the season. But they were playing some really good competition, and you see that they've improved beyond that, and they're starting to play much better.
Well, I said in the barbershop the day of when they played Lawrence County, I said one good thing about it is somebody's coming out here with their win. Because Lawrence County and Summertown both were needing a win that night. Now, Summertown had the better night. I heard Timmy and our good buddy Dusty Kaiser on that broadcast, and even Timmy, I think, would tell you Summertown probably didn't hit the best. Had some wild pitches, had some walks from Lawrence County, but ended up when you can win 13-0, you gotta feel good, especially when you only scored 3 runs your previous 2 games combined. So you got to feel better about that. You got to feel better about your pitching. Lawrence County going to them, get a big win the next night against Mount Pleasant, so they've got that off their back. So now maybe they can just relax and go on too.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Lawrence County baseball, those first 3 games were pretty tough, but they played 3 really good pitchers.
Yep.
Faced the ace for Columbia Academy. He's pretty good. Faced the ace from Brooks. He's getting looked at by SEC schools. Faced Summertown's ace and Grayson.
Right.
Grayson had 9 strikeouts the other night and got to about the 4th inning. You have those thoughts like, are we going down this road again? But, man, they break out 6 runs in that inning, 3 in the 5th. And just saw them kind of exhale, start to play with a little bit more of a pep in their step. And they just need to see the ball land in the outfield with no one catching it, just need to make contact, and that ball just snowballed from there.
Right. And on that note, going back to the Summertown game for Lawrence County, as you'd said, Grayson's the best pitcher Summertown has. I don't think that's a secret or anything. And you just feel like you're just striving for you're just doing everything you can just to get something positive going. That Mount Pleasant game will kind of put them in that right direction.
Absolutely. And Lady Cats softball-wise, 4 district games to start off with, and what we're finding out is this district is loaded. Lincoln County, very good, 2 Division I players. Marshall County can hit the ball really well. Page can hit the ball really well, got some good pitching. You know, the start off of 4 district games and 4 really good teams. I know they're sitting in 1-3, but they've put the bat on the ball. They've played really well. Defensively has been shaky at times. Base running has been shaking at times. But, early on, if they can learn some of these lessons from these district games, they can definitely put together some wins here down the stretch.
And the good thing they are having to play first half of district. They're going to get to play some games. They're going to play some tournament games. Just, I don't, when we talked to Coach Land last week, I just think that's crazy that you start out playing district that could determine your seeding before you've really got anything going. But with that, everybody does it, so I guess it's fair all around.
Right.
But I talked to Elle Hillhouse, who's basically my 4th daughter, and just said, well, how did you do? And she sent me the score, and I said, I know the score. I said, how did you do?
Yeah.
And she just sent me hitting poop emoji. So she doesn't think she's hitting the ball very well, and she's probably not for her standards. But her and Lake and Davis, only 2 seniors on that team, so I'm sure they feel a little bit more responsibility to lead that bunch. And if they're not performing as good as they think they are, they probably are taking a lot of blame for the start they've got off to. But they've just got to relax and just kind of let some things flow a little bit. As you said, Marshall County and the other night against Page, they scored some runs.
Yeah.
Talking to some folks, I think they probably went to Lincoln County thinking they were beat. And because from what I understand, the pitching for Page was maybe just a little bit better than Lincoln County.
They hit Lincoln County well.
Yeah.
Michaela Kerr had a ball that was going to be a for sure RBI double. That was going to cut the lead and kind of give them some momentum. Their center fielder made a Jim Edmonds diving towards the fence catch like that.
Right.
I mean, yeah, they made some amazing plays defensively. They probably robbed Lawrence County of at least 4 hits that I can think of, probably 5 or 6.
That could have scored some runs on top of the 4 hits.
Yeah. So they had some opportunity, but hey, it's early in the season. They're going to get them here, hopefully when the weather's a little bit warmer, which is what we're all hoping for at this point. Playing cold bat softball and baseball is just not a fun. Switching over to Loretto now to the softball side of things. They played some pretty good competition. They were ahead of Mars Hill Bible. We know that's probably one of the better programs in the area, certainly in the state of Alabama.
They're usually in the hunt.
And they were right there with them throughout pretty much led until the last couple innings.
Their record's probably not what they want it to be, but they've started out playing some doozies. Took one on the chin pretty good by Lauderdale County, who's a really good team. And then you take it down to the wire against Mars Hill, who's always in the state tournament talks there in Florence. So I know what they've got coming. They got 2 really good pitchers that are proven pitchers in Emily Cozart and Carly Urban. You've got a shortstop that's committed to UNA or is going to go play at UNA next year in Briley Dover. You got J.B. Clifton, who you could put her anywhere on the field. She may be the best catcher in the district. So I think they're going to be kind of like what I said, Lawrence County. I think they're going to – the more they play and the more they do, because you got to remember that softball team has a lot of basketball players on it that went to the sub-state. So they just hadn't had a lot of time in, but I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, now the baseball side of things, they've played some doozies too. That Hendersonville team, we know how good they are. That was a good battle. They split with Spring Hill, got a couple wins over the weekend, and I mean they're they played a tough schedule. That record can be deceiving, but their record is really starting to shape up pretty well because they're just as talented, if not better, than some of these teams they're playing.
Well, and I think. And I can't comment on really how they play because I haven't really kept up with them. I know that they're the team everybody's predicting to be there. And just from what I know in their pitching, their coaching, what they've got in utility players and just role players, I think they got a team that we could be covering, come May in Murfreesboro. And, leave that up to their coaching staff. They're going to beef up that schedule right now when it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So the records, you can throw that out the window. They're trying to get some other kids, besides their 2 main arms, some pitching time and some things like that. And they're just trying to get reps. And I think they're a team probably in a month from now, you better look out.
Yeah, and speaking of Murfreesboro, we got some special guests with Murfreesboro ties here tonight. We got members of the Lady Cat 1998 team joining us here. Head coach Willie Joyner. You got Wendy Scott / Wendy Hartsfield. And we got Katie Smith / Katie Busby
Right.
that are joining us here tonight. And also we've got Nick Campbell, the head coach of the Giles County boys basketball team. Had a good run last week.
Made it to the Final
Make it
Four.
to the Final Four. And like we mentioned last week, if you would have saw them a year ago or even in that game against Lawrence County, they got beat 80-40. I didn't see it, but what a great job Coach Campbell and the rest of that program.
What a
did to
run
get
they
them-
went on after that game.
Ooh, well, make it the Murphys. You don't get to the state tournament by accident.
Nope.
And they went there and made some waves in the process.
Well, you don't beat Summertown and Loretta 5 times
Yeah.
to do it, because nobody else has done that in a while.
Yeah.
Like we'd said, it's the first time Summertown and Loretta hadn't played each other in the district championship, I think, since 2017.
Right. Yeah.
Coach Campbell had something to say about it this year.
Yeah. Now they're going to have to move up and play in Lawrence County.
That's right. Get to see it even closer next year.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun with that next year. Well, coming up next, we're going to be joined by Nick Campbell, the head coach of Giles County. That's here on X Sports Live.
Have an H&R Block Tax Pro do your taxes online, and tax season feels just as good as all those other seasons, like wedding season.
I W-2 you.
Taxes.
File from anywhere with the expertise of an H&R Block Tax Pro.
Do you have a small farm, a big farm, or just critters in the backyard to feed? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you need to make the short drive down to A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee today. Owner and operator Jamie Ayers has you covered and will treat you right. That's A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee.
For decades, First Class Charter has provided high-quality motor coach transportation services to the Tennessee Valley. With numerous safety and cleanliness accreditations, First Class Charter is ready to make your group trip a reality. Contact us today by visiting firstclasscharter.net. First Class Charter, the official motor coach company of the North Alabama Lions.
Got primary care? Find your way to better health with primary care by One Stop Medical. With decades of combined experience, you'll find a one-on-one relationship just like the old days, but with the convenience and technology of today. When One Stop Medical does primary care, it's the best. Call today for an appointment and find your way to healthy living. Serving Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, and Hohenwald. Phone 931-244-8220. Primary care by One Stop Medical at its best.
Welcome back here to X Sports Live. We're joined by Giles County head boys coach Nick Campbell. There we go. Sorry. That's what happens when I kick the table by accident. We get joined here by Giles County head coach Nick Campbell. Nick, made a nice run to Murfreesboro last week, made it to the Final Four. What a great run for your team.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable run. Selfishly, I've never been, Glass House that they call it, Murphy Center, so it was great for me. But it was great for our community. It was great for did I kick something that time?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Hand him that one.
Is that the one we had trouble with?
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was.
You break everything,
yeah,
so
it's tough, man. It's a tough life, but yeah, it was a great run. It was really good for our school. Our kids. They really deserve that. They worked extremely hard, so it was cool. It was cool to see all that come together.
You guys had a good run at Columbia the year before. Giles County comes up. What made you want to take that job?
Well, I just moved over there, and I was commuting 50 minutes one way. So it was basically 2 hours in a car. By the time you get back home after practice, you don't really want to do anything. And it came open, and it's 7 minutes from my house. So it was kind of a no-brainer just to apply for it. I didn't know if I would get it or anything like that. And my assistant, at Giles.
I think it's mine. That's
always
all right.
you.
I'm going to hold it just right.
Yeah.
So if you want to take that back now?
No.
You said that
Yeah,
I
please
messed up
please
the other
take
day.
make it. Yeah, hold them accountable.
So,
No.
Yeah, just making sure. But so I mean, it just kind of all fell into place. I didn't want to leave Columbia Central, but there was only a handful of jobs that I would do that for, and being 7 minutes away really, made that a lot easier choice.
Well, Coach, touching on that, you knew, me and you both grown up playing against Giles County in all those years, and you had to replace a coach that was there before I played here. So a longtime coach and Coach Holt, but you knew the talent is at Giles County. But, taking that job, didn't have a very good year last year, Giles County. And to take that bunch and turn them around, did you see that it could be done? I mean, did you feel like when you took that job, we can finish in the Final Four of the state tournament?
It's funny. Jack Harper asked me Thursday when we were on the way to play our first game. He said, "Coach, did you think we would be here?" I said, "Yeah, to watch,
Spectate."
not necessarily playing in it." But I knew they had a lot of kids coming back, and we know, being from Lawrence County, and I was actually living in Pulaski at the time, and not really leaving the area. I knew that they had the athletes and the players and the history of being really good, and I think these seniors sophomore year they won 3 games,
Right.
and then the year before that I think they won like 6. So I knew we would eventually get there. I didn't know how fast we would get there, but what's funny is, it was tough. We played Lawrence County, we played Lincoln, we played these schools, but we didn't get our football players back till after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah.
So you develop this preseason chemistry with the guys that are there, and then you add 7 players that just came back from a semifinal Final Four football team, and then you got to figure it out. And then our quote unquote best player, Jack Harper, rolls his ankle, and then he misses 3 weeks.
Right.
So, we really didn't have our entire roster at a practice or a game until at Athens over Christmas break. So it took us about a month to get going. But, once they figured out how we want to play and how to do this, how to do that, we won 19 straight.
Yeah.
So, it was a special year.
Well, Coach, even if it was hitting 15 threes in the first half with Summertown coming and just burying teams, or finding a way to win at Summertown, after a missed free throw and a foul, and Harper going down and knocking down 2 big threes, your team, it just seemed like at some point they just kind of turned the corner and said, we're not going to lose.
Yeah, we talked about finding different ways to win a game. Everybody thought we could shoot the ball really well, which we could, but you can't shoot the ball well every single game, so you got to find other ways to win. So we like to win in the 80s. We could win in the 40s. So it's just kind of, everybody's like, oh, you need to speed people up. Well, we kind of like to play some slow down games as well. So we didn't want to be just one dimensional. So we figured out a way to win. We had to tweak practice a little bit here and there, so it would set us up for a little bit more success in games. But once we got rolling, everybody started figuring out we could win in the 40s as well.
Well, that sub-state game, Coach, Harper, Carden, your guards, basically, when it got time, about a 4 or 5 point lead there in overtime. Just the keep away that those, and keeping their composure, and then knowing when to give the ball up or knowing when to hold it and expect to go make your foul shots. You got to give those kids a lot of credit.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it a little bit. We didn't really want to slow the game down,
Right.
But those guys, they played enough games and figured out, hey, we got the ball, we're going to go make free throws. But I want to touch on that a little bit. But everybody talks about Jay Carden and Jack Harper and Clay Mitchell and Kamari Turner and J.C. Coffee. But I think what we'll have a really hard time of replacing are the Matt Kings, Joe Dangerfield, Dre Daly, some of these guys, Trayvon, Dangerfield, some of these guys that didn't play a whole lot, but were the best teammates that we could ask for. If a kid comes over pouting, they're picking them up and, hey, look, it's okay, we got to bounce back.
And go out there and do their job.
Yeah. So, we had great teammates all year. I think they finished the year last year with like 8 or 9 players. So everybody was just happy to be a part of something bigger than just basketball. But Matt King probably had the most iconic sports memory in Giles County history in the last 20 years. He came in for Jason Coffey with like 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Hadn't played a minute the entire game. Jason's got to come out because he gets busted up. He makes a free throw to put us up 1. They go down. Power Center goes down, hits a layup. He goes down, gets offensive rebound, and hits a 3.
Right.
And had set for about an hour and a half. So that was pretty special to see. And, just kind of, you hear people say it all the time, just how good of a team and chemistry. I told everybody we had, like, the weirdest, great team chemistry that I've ever been around. So, I think in basketball, people underestimate how far you can go off of team chemistry.
Right.
And you mentioned, you got your football players back there at one point, and after the calendar turned to 2023, that's when that 19-game win streak kicked into gear. Was it just they just needed to be together for a certain amount of time to finally get that chemistry down?
Yeah, I think when you start inserting a kid here, a kid there, or take a kid out of the starting lineup, or make a 6th man to an 8th man, it just takes a little bit of time to get used to it. But when our season really changed, we came to Lawrence County at a Christmas tournament and played Clements at 10 a.m. and we got beat. It was not pretty. Yeah. I think you may have been on the call or somebody was, but that game was at 10 a.m. and we got done and we went in the locker room. I said, fellas, don't take your uniform off, take your shoes off. We're going to the van. When we get back, we're going to practice. Right. And we practiced for an hour and a half, 2 hours after we played a Tuesday night game, Wednesday morning game, and then we practiced for 2 hours. And I was like, okay, this is where we're going to turn it around.
Right. We'll either turn it around or it'll implode.
It was already imploded.
Right.
Yeah. So we turned it around then. I can't, thank these guys enough for buying into what we wanted to do and just being great leaders. Obviously, you see the results, but more importantly, they're high-character kids, great kids. Never had to worry about if anybody's going to be late to practice, anything like that. When you don't have to worry about that stuff, you usually have success on the court.
Yeah. Coach, is it a pretty good ace in the hole to and I know that you're tickled to death that he's with you on that bench, but touch on Tyler being with you, just if nothing else for the simple fact that the last state championship won, or the only state championship I think ever won by Giles County in basketball, Tyler Smith was a part of. Mm-hmm. Does it help knowing that he can look around and say, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, everybody calm down?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. And we've been together. He was with me at Central
for
4 years. So, this is our 5th year together. And we've become more than just coaching friends. Mm-hmm. We're really good friends. We hang out outside of practice and games. So, to have him there, and it was special for him. It was the 20-year anniversary of them winning the state championship. Yeah. And it's hard to put into words how much he means to Giles County.
Right.
Even though he wasn't there at Giles County, he still had an AAU team that was based out of there. He still had he's got a Saturday morning youth league that's based out of there. So he's coached a lot of these kids growing up from 5 all the way to high school.
Before long, they'll be up there too.
Right. So I'm talking about our seniors this year,
right.
And juniors. He coached them starting at 2nd grade. So it's pretty cool to see him have that joy. And like you said, it means a little bit more when you're doing it at home too.
Right.
So he's got, I think, 3 banners in the gym as a player, and now he gets to add 1 as a coach.
Right.
So, that's pretty special for him.
In that first game you guys had in the glass house, that one came down the wire, and you guys were able to pull that one out.
Yeah, it was easily the most exciting game that I've ever been a part of as far as a coach or player. But I think touching back on what you were saying and learning how to win, a one-possession game. We had a one-possession game at Summertown, Loretta at home, Lawrence County at home, Lincoln County, Athens beat us. We had close game after close game, so we had to figure out how to win those close games because we had an older team, but they weren't used to winning close games. So I think, too, that it took a little bit of time for us to figure out how to win and who needed to be where, who needed to be shooting the free throws, who needed to be rebounding, who needed to be inbounding the ball. Just small things like that. And once we figured that out, we were like, okay, we can do this. So it's cool to see a team mature and people say the light bulb go off. When the whole team sees the light bulb go off, that's pretty cool to be a part of.
Yeah, and for you guys, building a program. That's obviously you got a good foundation now with making this run. How do you build off that for the future seasons?
We just got to continue to compete. Every single day in practice, you hear you can't take a day off, but you really can't now, especially with us going up to 3A. We kind of got to work a little bit harder. But, I thought over the state tournament, there was you see stuff on Twitter, you see stuff everywhere, but this guy tweeted out, I forgot what his name was, Shane Reed or something like that. He said all these teams are rolling up in a charter bus, and Giles County High School rolls up in 2 Giles County Board of Education vans. He said, you hard hat and lunch pail, so that's kind of got to be our motto going up to 3A. We got to continue to work and outwork people. And here's the thing, we go again where we have a ton of football kids playing. So I think we have even more this year. So I mean, the first part of the season is going to be tough, but from the Shane Clark tree, you don't want to be playing your best basketball in November.
Right.
So I think we kind of found a recipe for that this year, and we're going to try to, I guess, bottle that up per se. But we're going to have to continue just to work harder and get in the gym and get better.
On that note, Coach, what do you like this crop that have you been getting to watch Bridgeforth? You've been getting to watch some of the middle school feeders that you're going to have coming up, and because I know you replace a lot of seniors off this squad. Do you feel good about where you're going to be? Going forward.
We've got a good core coming back as far as our high school kids, and I think we're going to add some kids as far as 8th graders that are coming up. I know there's some at Bridgeforth, there's some at Elton and Minor Hill, so we're looking forward to getting those kids in there and seeing what we really got. We got a pretty good freshman class, so that's exciting. But we've got a good nucleus that are coming back that got to make this run, got to win the district tournament, region tournament, and then go advance on. There's no substitute for a deep tournament run.
No, how many young kids are in that gym for that sub-state or made that trip to Murfreesboro, and they want to be a part of that. They want to get in on that.
Yeah, well, Nick, we'd like to thank you for stopping by, coming out here to Hinies BBQ tonight, and we're going to be seeing a lot of you coming up here in the next couple years, joining Lawrence County's region.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming out here
Thanks,
tonight,
Sue.
Nick. And coming up next, we'll have the head coach of the 98 Lady Cats, Willie Joyner. That's next here on Exports Live.
Do you have a small farm, a big farm, or just critters in the backyard to feed? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you need to make the short drive down to A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee today. Owner and operator Jamie Ayers has you covered and will treat you right. That's A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we provided outstanding residential and commercial services through southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air, when you need us, we'll be there.
A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
Introducing Cloud9 Fiber to Lawrenceburg. We take great pride in being the only locally owned and operated internet company within Lawrenceburg and Lawrence County. We're now offering up to gigabit services with plans starting at $50 per month. Surf the internet with blazing fast speeds and reliability, all while keeping your investment within Lawrence County. For more information, visit cloud9fiber.com to request for us to build your area next.
I'm Mike Keith, and my friends at Elliott Johnson Insurance have a great partner in Auto Owners Insurance. Auto Owners makes it easy to get life, home, car, or business insurance. Let Elliott Johnson Insurance find the Auto Owners policy that makes a difference in your life. Call Elliott Johnson Insurance at one of their 3 locations, Florence, Loretto, and Lawrenceburg. Elliott Johnson Insurance, moving forward for our clients every day.
Employee Resources Credit Union is an easy solution to banking, offering a personal, simple, yet modern way to bank. When you bank with ERCU, you are a shareholder, meaning you own a piece of the pie, and we make it easy with the convenience of digital banking, with service you won't find at another financial institution, including low to zero fees and incredible rates. We have the technology you need with the personal service you deserve, right here in your own neighborhood. Employee Resources Credit Union, not for profit, for service.
For decades, First Class Charter has provided high-quality motor coach transportation services to the Tennessee Valley. With numerous safety and cleanliness accreditations, First Class Charter is ready to make your group trip a reality. Contact us today by visiting firstclasscharter.net. First Class Charter, the official motor coach company of the North Alabama Lions.
And welcome back here to X Sports Live from Hinies BBQ. We are joined by the head coach of the 1998 Lady Cats, the Lone State Championship in Lawrence County high school history, Willie Joyner. Willie, thanks for stopping by here and this time of year.
Thank you, AJ. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's year number 25, from the state championship. Do you kind of get those goosebumps on your arm when you think about that time and how special it was?
Well, anytime I think about that time, it was truly special, and just the goosebumps kind of come around every year about that time, just to be honest with you, when the tournaments start, and it just makes you go back, and so those are just hugely fond memories. I mean, just tremendous, and just such a special time.
You guys had, I went back and watched Will's documentary, kind of did my homework, kind of did it, procrastinated. I did it today before I came here for the test tonight. But you had such a dynamic team. You had a lot of different personalities that had to all mesh together to create something special. And, you guys as a coaching staff were able to do it. The girls were able to come together, and it made something very special.
I tell you, they really were a special group. And what made them so special in my mind was that they were just truly a team. I mean, we had 4 girls that averaged in double figures that, it'd be 2 of them one night, 2 another night, and it was just a balanced set, and they didn't care who scored as long as we won. And that, you hear coaches say that a lot, but that was really true of that team. I mean, they were just tremendous to each other, but just a joy to coach.
Coach, we were talking off air, one thing that Will and JP Plant did so good on this documentary was honoring a lot of folks that we don't have with us anymore. Yeah. It's one of those that I got to watch, and man, it's fun to reminisce, and it's exciting, but man, it gets you sad too, just because all these. One of them we were talking about off air is Foxy Griffith, and Dusty, I'll tell you and Will this because Will got a kick out of hearing all those Foxy stories, but I've actually got a lot of old game films of mine. And Jack Cheatwood did most of those. Jack was on there a lot, on this documentary as well too. But Foxy had to do the girls and the boys game and was doing the play-by-play. And I'm at the free throw line one time, and it says, well, there's Clint Brazier at the foul line. Went to the barbershop today and saw James Fields, and he talked about my granddad for 3 minutes. I mean, scores already changed 7 times. but just listening to those stories and things like that, the classic, Coach, do you ever work on free throws?
Oh, man,
Nah. Why would we work hard?
And, you're sitting there and you're trying to keep from busting out laughing because, I mean, it's like, well, yeah, we do. We practice it. It didn't look like it tonight, but, yeah, we really do. And, I mean, I'm glad you brought up the documentary that Will did was just tremendous. He and JP just when Will first reached out to me, he told me he had the idea, and he sent me the Summertown
the first parade
he'd done. And, I mean, I was just blown away when I watched it, just the quality and the professionalism. I mean, it was just tremendous. And he said, now, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need all your stuff. I said, Will, I got a lot of stuff. And, and I mean, I brought boxes of stuff to him, and just watching it and knowing how he had to watch and pick those segments and the way that he blended things. I mean, I hope we have been able to tell Will enough just how special it is to all of us that were involved and how many memories that it brought back. But it was really special to hear those voices. We had audio, we had video, but Will was able to put them together, and that added to it. And I know he brought this out in the video, but I had put together, with my limited video skills, a very crude highlight video, and had asked Jackie, to overlay some music to it.
I remember that at the banquet.
Yes, we did that at the banquet, and that just totally changed the way that appeared and the way it sounded. So, just those kind of things that people have done, and I can't imagine how long Will worked on that, but it was just tremendous and just brought back a lot of memories for us.
Speaking of another one of those memories that wasn't on the documentary, but I think if I remember right, girls went first, and you got to cover a lot during our basketball banquet of them winning a state championship and everything. And I remember Coach Clark getting up there and said, "Well, folks, one thing good about when I start talking about my team, we'll be real short." So the boys part didn't take as long. But Coach, going back to that, how you and Wendy kind of had a little front side seat to it, both being at Lawrence County High School back home. But what was that interview process like, and how nice was it just to, like, when Kayla comes in and just get to meet with her and Brandy and Mel and those, just to watch them do their interview or hang out with them?
Well, that was really, really nice. And I know when I came in and sat down with Will, when we finished, he said, we've been talking 3 hours. I said, you have got to be kidding me. I said, it doesn't seem like we've been talking that long, because it had just flown by. And it was amazing to me how things came back to me as he prompted me. And then he would tell me things that people had said in some of the other interviews, and that would kind of prompt my memory. And then seeing, I think Brandy came in after me, and seeing her, and then get to see all of them when they came back for the recognition that we had there in January. It was just really good to see all of them. They've all been very successful and done great in their careers and as wives and mothers and all the jobs that they do. And that just means a lot too.
Coach, did you really not ever have any idea what happened at Marshall County in that fight in the locker room?
Well, here,
I mean, I grew up with Katie, so I can 100% see it on her end.
Absolutely. So
she just gave you a death stare right there.
I can distinctly remember our normal procedure. The girls went in, they took care of all their business, and then Stacy and I would talk, and then Stacy would go check and just make sure I was good to come in. Well, we're out there doing that, and then I just hear like somebody's tearing that thing apart. And so I say, see what's going on. Well, when she comes back, she just kind of pulls the door to, and she said, it's not good. And I said, well, it's like 3 minutes. We got to get back out there. So I just go in and I say, I don't know what just happened, but we got to put it behind us, and we got to go play a second half. And honestly, it was years before I found out anything.
Exactly
because
what happened.
After we won the game, and I'm like, golly, evidently they took care of it. I'm just not going to bring it back up, And so it was just kind of the way we handled it. And then I have been able to find bits and pieces, which none of it surprised me. None of it surprised me the way it unfolded. None of it surprised me that Wendy said, "Look, y'all got to straighten up." I mean, that's just kind of the way it would work.
Or that they put it behind them when that second half took care of business.
Played well, and over the course of a season, you're going to have things like that. Well, when I'm walking back out for the second half, I'm like, this is the last game of the year, and it's going to fall apart right now. That's what's going through my mind as the coach and thinking about, but it didn't. They pulled it together and went out and played well. And then and started that tournament run. So it was great.
You know, one thing that kind of took me aback watching the documentary is how often you guys played at the Murphy Center. Was it 7 times? You guys played there?
We did.
Well, here's
in the 98 season.
Here's a stat that I looked up today. You know how many games MTSU's women's program won at their building that year? 8.
Well,
wow.
8. You guys won 7 in that building. I know there was
and played 7.
You played 7, and I know it was intentional that you wanted that game there against Father Ryan.
Yes.
Then you played your region tournament there, and
yes.
you know I know that's not the norm now. They save the Murphy Center for the state tournament for that sort of stuff, but I mean, you guys, you got in the biggest building that you were going to play in, and you took advantage of it every time.
Well, and the region was between District 7 and 8, which Murfreesboro is right in the middle. And so we had played the region tournament there, and it had worked out well. And, of course, it works out well when you're going to play the state tournament there the next week or the boys 2 weeks later. So and I don't think they allow that anymore from what I understand. So but we were fortunate to be able to do that. And I know I think this was brought out in the documentary, but you know we were the home team through all of it until the semifinals of the state tournament, and somebody had to bring up, you know, hey, it's the first time we've worn our purple road jerseys.
You knew it, but you were like, shut up about it.
We don't need to talk about it. And so, but that one worked out too. So.
Yeah, the competition, obviously the district was really tough for you guys, and your region competition was tough. And it just seemed like you guys were knocking off one legendary program, one legendary coach after another. It was just, they talk about climbing the mountain. You guys had what it sounds like, had to climb Mount Everest to get to the top.
Well, our district that year, 7 teams, but there were really 5 good teams in the district that year, and one of those was not going to make the region tournament, and it was just really tough. Shelbyville got so much better as the year went on, and we had that real tight game with them in the district tournament.
At the timeout game?
That is the timeout game. Yeah, I remember that as sitting in the student section.
Yeah, it was. And so, and that was a big thing for us because I think we had a 1-point lead when they came down. So I mean that was pivotal. It was.
Coach, it was a exciting year, but to touch on one of my favorite teachers, your mother. Her 58 team got honored at Murfreesboro this year.
They
also
did.
in the 25-year anniversary of you guys winning the state championship. How much has Miss Joyner watched this documentary? What'd she think of it?
Well, I sent her the link, and I said, "No, you're in this one, so you need to take it." But she's enjoyed it, and when I mentioned in there that growing up, I mean, she talked about that 58 team a lot. My dad was not very athletic minded. She's the one that got out and played ball with us and stuff like that, and so when I didn't know they were doing this, but the morning we left to go to the state tournament, there's an article in the Tennessean, and they had interviewed her and were talking about the 40-year separation, and so that was a neat thing just for her and for me. And I had her come down and talk to the girls not long before we went, and I said, I just want you to kind of tell them what it's like and what it's like all these years after, how you look back at that. And so that was a good thing. And but she I just kind of grew up with knowing that, man, that's a special place. It's got to be a special place.
Coach, and I'm going to ask when Wendy and Katie come on, I ask them their point of view as players. Dusty and I were in the crowd, and I've had 2 kids that have both played in 2 state championships in Murfreesboro, and one of them was against their county rival, Loretta. So, I mean, it was loud, those 2, but it didn't hold a candle to as loud as it was those 3 games in '98 with Darryl Boston leading that band, and Mickey Dunn making sure that we had pep buses taking people for those that needed a ride. I've never heard that gym that loud, and I don't think I ever will again.
Well, I tell you, it really swelled each night. I mean, I could tell each night it just got a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and I really used that as a motivation one night. Y'all know we started slow in all those games, and then we would kind of wake up, and And I remember at halftime of one of them, I said, look, those folks have been showing up, and they're going to keep coming, but you got to go back out there and make sure we get to come back. And, and with the I think I may have seen you in the crowd in the Sub-State game.
Yeah,
if I remember.
I was up there.
I think there was a shot in the I told my wife as we were watching
I sent a picture to Will. I said, I found me. I said, I made the dock.
I said, I think that's Clint. I think that's him. So
I think there's some of the runouts of the boys' games and stuff like that maybe that was on a couple of those that I might have been in. But and I'll talk to Winnie and them about this too, but it was funny. You said something that, hey, they're just showing up for the boys' game. Well, Wendy or Kayla and Brandy's freshman year would have been Cedric's senior year, so that was kind of what we call Showtime Lawrence County. That see a lot of dunks going on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The next year was not very good. It would have been my freshman year. I think we only won 4 games. But you guys start to turn the corner, and by the time I was a senior, we weren't very good. And you'd go to some of these Franklin County games, and, man, that place would be packed. And then we'd come back out, and all the people would be left with my parents.
Well, and what we were talking about there was a time when this may have even been before Katie and Wendy got there, but this would have been when Kayla and Mel and Brandy were probably freshmen. And I just remember one day they were like just kind of, whining about nobody's. I said, well, hey, let's give them something to come see. They'll come if we give them something. And they took that, I think, as motivation, and they just worked so hard, to bring it about. And but that was neat and just a really special. That Sub-State was just special time.
I mean, I've heard stories about that Sub-State game. I mean, they said that gym's never been that packed. They bring them out. You got the student section underneath on the other side. And, I mean, the fans were already in their seats ready to go before the other team got there.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't stand it. And you talk about starting slow. Y'all didn't start slow in that game. You came out on fire in that game.
I mean, I think Wendy scored the first 7 points in that ball game. And then, Katie ended the first quarter with that half-court shot. And it was just unbelievable. And I know that team had to be intimidated. I would have been, if I had been in an environment
walk in,
like
hadn't even warmed up, got in your locker room, and the place is packed, and the band's rocking.
Well, I mean, I had been over to the gym 2 or 3 times that day. I just was nervous and didn't want to hang around the house. And I had been over there 2 or 3 times. And then I of course, got there early, but people did. They just started coming in. And that was just really neat. And I know as special as the state tournament and the state championship, to me that game was also so special because it was at home and it was our folks and our gym. It was just a really, really special time.
I can't remember if it was my dad or my granddad, but that Sub-State game, I remember him saying, man, Rob, whatever he wanted to in Lawrenceburg tonight. Because everybody here's in this gym.
I heard that comment the night of the state championship, too. There was just so many people there. But there were people, alumni, that I saw that Saturday night that, I mean, hey, my team's in the state championship. And they came from Nashville. They came from just all over the place. Folks I hadn't seen at games in years. And that was neat to see, too.
Well, Coach, I'd like to thank you for stopping by here on X Sports Live. I know we see a lot of you. You're at pretty much every Lawrence County event, but we're so grateful that you can come out here and talk with us tonight.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me. And, again, I just want to thank Will and JP for the great job they did on the documentary. And a lot of folks getting to relive that, but a lot of folks getting to see it for the first time. So it's really special to us, but we appreciate everything he did.
Coach, I'd like to thank you. And coming up next, we'll have Wendy and Katie. That's here on X Sports Live.
Hey everyone, this is Landon Saunders.
And this is Nate Patterson with Cloud9 Fiber.
We're excited to finally be able to offer Lawrenceburg our blazing fast, reliable, and affordable fiber internet services.
If you're looking for a more reliable and more affordable provider, we at Cloud9 Fiber have you covered.
Plans start at $50 a month, and we can offer up to a gigabit to your home or business.
We are excited to be able to offer your first month of service entirely free. We encourage you to sign up on cloud9fiber.com or by calling 931-201-9098 so we can help you make the switch today.
A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
Employee Resources Credit Union is an easy solution to banking, offering a personal, simple, yet modern way to bank. When you bank with ERCU, you are a shareholder, meaning you own a piece of the pie, and we make it easy with the convenience of digital banking, with service you won't find at another financial institution, including low to zero fees and incredible rates. We have the technology you need with the personal service you deserve, right here in your own neighborhood. Employee Resources Credit Union, not for profit, for service.
We're ready. Back here at Hinies BBQ for Exports Live. Now we're joined by two members of the 1998 Lady Cat State Championship team. We have Katie Smith-Busby and Wendy Hartsfield-Scott. I almost got everyone backwards, but I'm glad I got it right there. And this time of year, I know it's special. I know you guys think about it a lot this time of year. What's it, like we said with Coach Joyner, you get that goosebumps thinking back to that time?
Go ahead. Yeah, actually, every time that the state tournament, I went and watched several years, since then, and that team wins, and you see them going out onto the court and receiving that gold ball, and it just hits you all over again, and you remember yourself running out there and getting that, and how the feelings. So it does every year.
Yep, it's same for me. I mean, it's just a special time and always brings back a lot of good memories and triggers memories that I had forgotten. So it's really cool. Since I'm coaching now, that's kind of, what we strive for. So I'm not really able to recover from our season until everybody's done playing in Tennessee. So now that everybody in Tennessee's done, I can become okay now, and I can recover. So I kind of stay mad until for the rest of the year and get mad at everybody that wins and mad that we're not playing, and then after it's over, I feel a lot better. So,
Coach Joyner, everyone loves him. Big, tall, positive guy. Is there any stories of him where he just really laid into you guys, like a, butt chewing for lack of a better term?
I don't remember it.
He doesn't come across that
I'm
way.
Sure that he did. I'm sure that he did, but
I mean, it's not throwing a bottle across the locker room, but
no, I don't ever remember him yelling at us.
Yeah.
At all.
Other than to fire you up.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to fire us up some, but
it wouldn't have worked on Katie anyway.
I really don't. I think he was pretty much even kill.
Have y'all's girls, or kids in general, but have your girls, especially that are in high school now playing, have they watched it, and what do they think?
Oh, man. Mine have made so much fun of me for so many different reasons.
I thought she was going to go the opposite way. I thought she was going to say JC watched it and said, oh, crap, maybe Mom really could play.
Yeah. Mine have laughed a lot at me, especially on the square, but they've loved watching it. We've watched it several times already. And Zeke, that's his show of choice now, is Party on the Square. So instead of watching his normal nighttime shows, he asked, Mom, can we watch Party on the Square?
Right.
So he loves watching it. And I've been able to find, like, different people on there, like family members, like my grandparents, and show them. It's just been really cool. Every time I watch it, I see somebody new. or I hear something different that I didn't even hear the first time I watched it. So it's been great.
Yeah, mine too. The same. My kids. Will, thanks for adding that in there where I missed 2 free throws in the
in that Shelbyville game.
So I appreciate that because that's what Ella says now is I was a turnover waiting to happen and I missed free throws. I said, well, I did get a couple of steals here and there, so I guess that made up for it. But no, they've enjoyed it. I don't know that they've enjoyed it as much as I have, just getting to watch it over and over, and like Wendy said, just remembering things that I didn't remember, and every time I have watched it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that now.
What about how your parents enjoy
Oh,
watching?
Mom and Dad.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next, not just your kids, but how much has Nikki and Pam and Cindy and Debbie, I guarantee you they've watched it 50 times.
They have.
I'm sure that they have, yeah, absolutely. And Dad'll mention something. Well, did you remember that, or when did that actually happen? Or
yeah, mine have enjoyed it too. Mom called me the other day and said that it made her cry, like you said. But yeah, she's watched it several times, and both of them have really enjoyed it. And my dad actually didn't make it to Party on the Square, but I didn't know that he didn't. He goes to bed real early, and he was asleep on the ride home, so he never made it. And Parks was 2 at the time, so he was a baby. So they were ready to get home. So he enjoyed going back and watching the Party on the Square that he didn't.
Watching
get to be
y'all
a part
turn into
of.
cheerleaders.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. We were cheerleaders more often than people realized, I think.
I just remember not caring one bit about what I looked like or what anybody thought.
Yeah.
And you could tell.
Yeah.
You guys on the bus kind of reminded me of my teammates back in high school. I bet my bus driver hated us. We had the same bus driver for every game in high school baseball, and we were crazy. It sounds like you guys were too. Just about every road trip, it was some shenanigans were going on.
Yeah, we always cheered to every game, but we would wait till a certain point, and we would know when we needed to start doing the cheers. So we did cheers on the way, and then we had cheers we did in the locker room, and we did that every time.
What was one of the questions Will wanted me to ask? Well, let me go with this one. Watching it, I've probably watched it 3 times, I guess, just if nothing else, just to look and see who all I notice in the crowd, the second or the third time. But it's really fun to watch, and it brings back a lot of really good memories. But, man, it brings back some sad memories, too, and you see how many people that aren't with us anymore. And I was telling Coach Joyner, I said, your part, Katie, when you were talking about Foxy, how he could be talking about a ball game and go off on talking about your grandmother. I've got a game film of mine that Jackie must have not could have been to, and Foxy's doing an hour play-by-play and said, Clint Brazier at the line. So went to the barbershop, saw James today, and he not even too sure about how good this team's going to play this year. But, it's on there, and he goes, it goes up and down the court 7 times, and he's talking to whoever's with him about his day at the barbershop. And that was just Foxy.
That was probably one of my favorite things about the video was just hearing the voices of Mr. Dunn and Foxy and Jack Cheatwood and seeing Margie Mann and just all the people that were so instrumental in helping that experience be what it was. And hearing their voices and just, oh, man, that was probably one of my favorite parts of it. Just having that attached on the video was really special, and they were just so supportive, and I just they're just like the heart of what went on, So we really miss them, but it's neat to get to go back and watch all that. Foxy, he was such a character, and he would make Parks sing "Who Let the Dogs Out." And oh man, it's just so funny hearing him and everything that he talked about everybody's family at every game. I mean, you knew who was there and where they had been, and
Ask who did the timeout when Shelbyville came in down there.
Yeah, can y'all remember when Shelbyville was getting their trophies, who it was that yelled out? Because there's 2 different ones that I know picked up in the documentary. It sounded like there were 2 different people. Do you remember who did it? I said one. I guarantee is Jay Chapman.
Well, my dad thinks it's Jay Chapman because we rewound it and listened to it.
The second one. I don't know who did the first one. I think the second one.
It could have been Ed Saxon.
Yeah.
Melody's dad, I really.
And Jay said he thought it was him too.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
at that time during the 90s, I don't think there's a gym Jay Chapman hadn't got thrown out of.
Well, as soon as I rewound it a few times, and Dad was watching it with me, and he thought
Right.
that it was Jay.
Well.
So I figured it probably was.
Yeah. And another thing, I was talking to Coach Joyner about it. I've had two kids that's played in state championships game. They hadn't won one, but now one of them they're playing Loretta in a county rivalry game, and it was loud. But it didn't hold a candle to what it was with Daryl Boston leading that band and that place just being packed. I won't ever hear it that loud again. What was it like playing and it being that loud?
I don't think we realized how special it was at the time. Just after now having been there as a coach and standing on the sidelines and looking up and thinking, there's a lot of people here, but it's not that full.
Well, I remember
that's
Riley's
a big gym.
Riley's senior year, the first time we
Right.
made it to state championship. I just remember, I mean, it was pretty big, but I just remember telling whoever was sitting beside me, I said, now, let me tell you something, 1998, you couldn't get a seat from about right there till about right there on this side. Because, I mean, it was more than a horseshoe that was all purple and gold.
All purple and gold. And it was special.
Yeah.
I've never seen it that full.
Yeah.
Just since then and going to the state tournament, I've never seen it that full.
I asked Coach Joyner this. I'll ask you guys. I know I've talked to y'all a little bit about it, just in off air, but what was it like? And Wendy, you probably get a good bird's eye view like Coach Joyner since you're back at Lawrence County, but just meeting up with Mel and Kayla and Brandy, just watching them do their interview, but talking and just hooking back up.
Well, it's been really
and
cool.
Coach Childress.
Yeah, we really enjoyed the reunion the night at the regular season game. Just seeing each other and talking. They really enjoyed coming into the locker room, and they were talking about how it still smells the same, and which is kind of crazy. But
it's got to smell better in a boys' locker room.
It was neat for me to see their faces when they walked in the locker room. It's just like it kind of flooded them with emotion, I feel like, of just all this. I mean, it's just all the blood, sweat, and tears. And, we were fortunate enough to do something that most never get an opportunity to do. And it just all, came back at once. So it was pretty emotional, I feel like, and just getting to watch the game together and hear everybody's perspective. They were so much the same, and we were interviewed on separate days, so nobody knew what the other one was saying. But once we saw the video, it was like everybody's perspective of each person was the same. And Coach Joyner and I were talking about that today, is you never really know what somebody's perspective of you is when you're in the moment and you're living. I mean, I had no idea what my teammates thought about me, I didn't know. And each one of us probably didn't know that, but just hearing everybody say the same thing, it was just really cool. Because you would think that we just planned it or something, but we didn't. So
you would think you just talked about it before. Now, this is what we're going to say, but that's not how it worked.
Right.
And that's Coach Joyner saying that. It's just amazing how Will could put those together and ask you all the same questions, but you all pretty much said the same thing about each other.
And even about the coaches, we all said the same thing.
And then how Will went back and found the video clips.
To back it up.
To back up what every one of us said. That was amazing.
Well, Katie, speaking of, I forgot, but did you really light up Loretta that bad for 4 years?
They're all shaking their head, yeah.
Man. I guess I just forgot. I don't know.
I can really remember thinking that. I mean, we don't even really have to do much.
I do remember the banquet that they made, the thing that showed all the threes you hit that year at Loretta. I do remember that, the video. But, yeah, people asked me, they said, Katie just torched Loretta. And I said, I don't know. I said, I just remember them torching everybody. I said, I grew up with them beating me on the playground. I said, so, I mean, they've always were good to me.
Well, I think a lot of things that she experienced at Loretta would be intimidating to most players.
Right.
But they didn't realize that just fueled her fire even more.
Right.
So didn't go in their favor, but it did ours.
So it kind of sounds like we got a Michael Jordan thing going
Yeah.
on here.
Well,
Don't
yeah,
talk
no,
trash
no,
to MJ.
Yeah.
Don't talk trash to Katie. It's just going to make it worse.
Right. Yeah, she got.
Who tried that? Oh,
to,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
Try the,
Yeah, that's another one I was
Yeah,
going to ask. The kind of hi-hatting you in the tunnel and kind of bumping into you and stuff. There's no way you didn't go that game, especially after the girl bumped you at the foul line without saying something.
I was always very cool and calm and never got too riled up, I don't think. So, no, I probably was saying stuff back. I would just assume. Or possibly pinching them in the belly. I don't know that for sure, but
you know, and there were
Can't
things
confirm or deny, right?
There were things that and I may not even knew it at the time, but I definitely forgot that y'all opened up the season at Murfreesboro. Who was it?
Father Ryan.
Father Ryan. But I was thinking that y'all went to Arizona at Christmas. Was that the next year, maybe?
We went to Pennsylvania the
Pennsylvania the next year. Okay.
I didn't even remember the Father Ryan game.
So for some reason, I had Arizona in my head for some reason.
Well, you guys played there 7 times that year. I know that's kind of rare, but I looked it up.
Yeah.
MTSU, their women only had 8 wins, and you guys had 7.
On their home floor.
On their home floor. They only had 8 on their home floor. You guys had 7. I mean, just how crazy was it that you guys, now knowing how things are now, that you guys were able to play at the Murphy Center as much as you did?
well, that's what we were talking about just a while ago, that they don't let the region tournament be there
Right,
anymore
right.
because
Gives you an edge up.
it gives those teams an edge. And but it was, I guess we played there all 4 years for region tournament. I think so. So, I mean, it was like a second home court.
Yeah.
Well, my kids have asked me, like I said, they've played several games in Murfreesboro, and they said when Riley first made it to her first one when she was a sophomore, said, "What's it like playing on this gym?" I said, "I don't know, Riley. I've only played here twice, and it was 2 games, and we went home. It was my junior year and my senior year. I think my sophomore year, I think we did play region maybe somewhere else. I don't think it was at our threes.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, I don't think it was at MTSU.
It's a fun gym to play in, though.
But I didn't know how to tell them how to play because I'd only lost 1 year and then lost the next. We didn't have the record they had.
For you guys, do you see any kind of similarities in your kids that you see in yourself? Like, do you see your daughter ever chucking a water bottle across the or pinching people on the court or anything?
No,
like
unfortunately, she's much nicer than me.
You might see it on the next one.
My younger one has a little bit of fire in her, but my older one is a lot calmer. I think JC, just having played against her, I think she's got a whole lot more of that meanness that Wendy didn't have.
Now that spin move, JC has your spin move.
JC
Watching
does
it
have the
on
spin move.
that video, I went, oh my. I've seen JC do that like every game. That behind the back,
I still make my girls practice spin move. Some, it's kind of going away in some places. They don't really teach it anymore. It's not fancy enough for some people.
It's not the
but
Euro
hey,
step,
we
right?
still work on the spin move at my practices. But yeah, she. I feel like that we are a lot alike. She's like a leader too. And that's kind of something that I always did. I didn't really realize I did it as much until looking back, and then after watching this. But she's a leader too, and then she kind of plays like inside out. So I think we have a lot of similarities.
Yeah. What about your boys?
Well, Zeke just started this year, so he's going to be a talker, though. He was already talking about who's got the shooter. Every time there was a free throw, he would yell out, "I got shooter." So he's just in first grade. And Kel, I don't know. I haven't. He's kind of
middle one. You don't never know.
Yeah, he's true. He might take a little bit more after his dad. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'll get in trouble for that one.
We'll get to cover Kel next year.
Well, we get to hear Jason on every broadcast anyway.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Kel, he's different in his own way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still very competitive and does a good job. So.
Yeah. Well, you got anything else that Will wanted to ask, Clint?
I'm trying to. Well, we just kind of combined them. There's just stuff we wanted to make sure that we asked. And I think it's in the first. I think it's on episode 1. But and Will even made a little bit about it. But did you guys? I don't know if y'all did at the time, but did you realize what y'all were doing for those kids behind y'all? Like, it showed Ashley Rutledge right there in the front, and I think it was the sub-state game. But I mean, she looked like she was about 6. Now she was probably in middle school. I know she would have been. She would have been in middle school at the time, maybe 6th, 7th grade. Yeah. But she looked like she looked like she in kindergarten. She was so young. But that group, because Lawrence County went on a run there after you guys, and I never did win the state championship. But you know that's not an easy thing to do, as we all know. But just the tone that y'all set and what y'all built. I mean, is that y'all ever thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it just gave everybody something to look forward to and play for, and it just set like a standard of, you know, if they can do it, we can do it, or we're going to try to strive to do it. So, I mean, they had a lot of success after that and had a lot of opportunities in the state tournament. And I think that was, you know, from them going and coming to the games and looking forward to it and that type thing.
I'll just second that, agree right behind it. I think now about our kids, you know, my kids growing up watching your kids play.
Right.
And how watching them go to the state tournament and seeing, you know, okay, they can do that, I can do that, and having something to, oh, I'm going to do that move, you know. Yeah. I'm going to try to make that 3 or whatever, you know. I think that it does just set a standard. And
you know, one thing y'all touched on, and I think it was Brandy and Coach, but was talking about how, because when our freshman year was the year after Cedric graduated, so it's I'd kind of refer to them as like Showtime Lakers. You know, you go watch a show when we were in 8th grade in that boys game, but you know, by the time I remember my freshman, sophomore year, you'd walk into the gym for probably the first of my sophomore year. You'd walk into the gym and it wouldn't be that busy. You know, coach would want us there by the start of y'all's game. And I remember probably the end of my sophomore year, definitely all of my junior year and then on, I know what that coach for that sub-state felt like, because I would walk in the gym, that place would be packed, and that band would be rocking. I mean, that's where they took it from. You know, people didn't go to the girls' game. And that's, of course, I was telling them by the time y'all were seniors, we weren't very good. My senior year, we'd go off Franklin County and halftime come out, and we'd go out, and all the people be there would be my parents.
Well, guys, we'd like to thank you guys for stopping by, reliving these great memories, and you guys did such a great job.
And anybody watching, if I didn't ask them something, if they didn't hear something, just send them a message.
Yeah, and we want to thank Will and John Paul for their work on the video, because it was just absolutely perfect, and the time that they put in, I can't even imagine.
I told you he was a perfectionist.
It was perfect. That's the only way I know how to describe it, and it's something that we'll be able to enjoy for years to come and generations, and hopefully, you know, people in the community can never forget that. And so we're just very thankful that he took the time and initiative to do that.
Absolutely. Again, thank you, Will. It's perfect. No. Perfect.
I was told yesterday it needed to be on 30 for 30 on ESPN. So that's what other people think about it.
I told him my only critique was that when he got to that point when he was kind of showing what it did for future generations with Katie Embry and Ashley, I was like, you didn't have to say Loretta won. I said, you could have just said they played each other.
Oh, man.
Well, we'd like to thank you guys for coming by here tonight. And coming up next, we'll wrap up X Sports Live here from Hinies BBQ.
Do you have a small farm, a big farm, or just critters in the backyard to feed? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you need to make the short drive down to A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee today. Owner and operator Jamie Ayers has you covered and will treat you right. That's A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we provided outstanding residential and commercial services through southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air. When you need us, we'll be there.
a local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
Introducing Cloud9 Fiber to Lawrenceburg. We take great pride in being the only locally owned and operated internet company within Lawrenceburg and Lawrence County. We're now offering up to gigabit services with plans starting at $50 per month. Serve the internet with blazing fast speeds and reliability, all while keeping your investment within Lawrence County. For more information, visit cloud9fiber.com to request for us to build your area next.
I'm Mike Keith, and my friends at Elliott Johnson Insurance have a great partner in auto owners insurance. Auto owners makes it easy to get life, home, car, or business insurance. Let Elliott Johnson Insurance find the auto owner's policy that makes a difference in your life. Call Elliott Johnson Insurance at one of their 3 locations, Florence, Loretto, and Lawrenceburg. Elliott Johnson Insurance, moving forward for our clients every day.
Employee Resources Credit Union is an easy solution to banking, offering a personal, simple, yet modern way to bank. When you bank with ERCU, you are a shareholder, meaning you own a piece of the pie, and we make it easy with the convenience of digital banking, with service you won't find at another financial institution, including low to zero fees and incredible rates. We have the technology you need with the personal service you deserve, right here in your own neighborhood. Employee Resources Credit Union, not for profit, for service.
For decades, First Class Charter has provided high-quality motor coach transportation services to the Tennessee Valley. With numerous safety and cleanliness accreditations, First Class Charter is ready to make your group trip a reality. Contact us today by visiting firstclasscharter.net. First Class Charter, the official motor coach company of the North Alabama Lions.
Flooring sets the tone throughout your home.
For flooring that makes the right first impression, start by choosing us, Floored by Justin.
A one-stop flooring destination. Our new location stands alone for unequaled customer service and selection. Owner Justin Story's mastery of custom hardwood inlays means every room can have a custom look. Discover how the right choice of hardwood, laminate, carpet, or tile can set the tone in your home. Contact Floored by Justin today.
Hey, this is Phil Hooper. Get the look you want for your favorite school, church, or business with apparel from HD Ink Screen Printing in Leoma, Tennessee. Got a logo you need embroidered or screen printed? Let HD Ink give you the professional look that sets the bar in today's world. We do fundraisers and custom designed apparel and so much more. Call today, 931-201-2961, or come see us at our new shop located at 26 Ingram Road in Leoma. Remember, HD Ink for the look you want and the look you deserve.
Whether it's popcorn, biscuits, or automotive, you need the right ingredients to achieve the best results. Heritage Automotive is proud to serve our community with a continually growing inventory. We also help our community grow by contributing to a vibrant economy, which helps build schools. I'm Keith Durham, and I'm the General Manager here at Heritage Automotive, and it's my job to make sure that you're 100% satisfied. Heritage Automotive, your hometown Chevy, Buick, and GMC dealer.
Great food is just a short drive to Hinies BBQ in Lawrenceburg. Mouth-watering is just one way to describe the amazing flavors of the best piece of Hiney in town. When you dig into a plate of pulled pork, hand-chopped brisket, chicken, wood-fire oven pizzas, and the menu goes on. Wash it all down with a swig of Hiney Shine lemonade and then make your way over to the gift shop full of Hiney sauces, snacks, and more. Hinies BBQ, Highway 43 North in Lawrenceburg. Are you looking for the perfect refrigerator? What about a new stove or washer or dryer? It only makes sense to shop at the one place that specializes in appliances, top to bottom, big or small. And that's Kelly Appliance in Lawrenceburg. Kelly Appliance is home to all major name brands, including LG. LG makes life good with a full selection of refrigerators, cooking appliances, dishwashers, microwaves, and more, including appliances made right here in.
Ready. And back here at Hinies BBQ for Exports Live, me and the guys here so next week, next Wednesday, just so Ben Luna knows and everybody else knows, it will be Wednesday because, we've got games on Thursday, and actually my son turns 1 next week, and I got my family coming in, and I'm sure my dad doesn't want to listen to me talk about wrestling on a Thursday night, so we'll have.
But at least it's not your birthday. Yes, we all remember. They don't remember your birthday.
Yeah, you don't matter anymore, JJ.
I've never mattered in the first place.
Well,
Amber was the smarter one. She was more athletic. She holds more records at my school. They're like, oh, her 3-point record at the school much better than your school record for tackles in a game. But that's
Yeah, it don't matter.
Yeah, nothing matter. But we will be doing wrestling week next week. So what we're going to spend the last segment on, because I really don't have a rant.
I just got one. I'll do it. I'll save it at the very end.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have one today.
We're going to kind of set the parameters for next week. What kind of topics would you guys like to get in? The first one, because I watched something about it today while working out. Greatest storylines, like greatest builds, tag teams.
Oh yeah, for sure. You got to go that route.
Yeah, promos. Catchphrases.
I just said mine off air, which I thought was the greatest to me.
Yeah.
Build up. I don't know if you'd call it promo. You talking promo, just in ring promo?
Yeah.
Or, okay. Yeah.
Just in ring. In person catchphrases, like every wrestler's got one, whether they're good or not. The controversies. Sure, we can really.
Oh, we could really go back on that one.
We can really go back on that one. The Montreal
screw
job. Yeah, screw. Yeah. Dusty said it. Montreal screw. As a Bret Hart fan, as my all-time favorite wrestler, I'm still convinced that they shouldn't have done that to Bret, and everything still would have been the same. Or they could have made it into a storyline. They could have played with Bret and still had a heel, Mr. McMahon.
Well, when you go back and you actually see, I get it, Bret was leaving, but it's all Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
If you see how much of a prick Shawn Michaels was back in those days.
He was awful.
I mean, how could anybody work with him?
Yeah.
But he was staying, and he was your face, and he was going to be your future with Bret Hart leaving. You didn't know that Stone Cold Rocket. It was starting to, it was
going up.
It was on the rise, but you wasn't sure yet. So I get you, but you could have let Bret still win that night and took it off of him the next night at Raw.
Yeah.
And
they wanted. He said he would drop it to the Undertaker. He would have dropped it to Ken Shamrock. He would have dropped it to The Rock. He would have dropped it to Stone Cold. Anybody. Which, if you understand, because he went to Shawn a couple weeks before, say, hey, I'm going to drop the belt to you. No hard feelings. Will be pros. And Shawn said, well, thanks, but just to let you know, I wouldn't do that
to favor to you.
Who in the world would have dropped the belt to him?
Right. And I think Bret Hart blow up at the end of that. I know we've all seen the video. It may be one of the best.
Yeah. And you didn't know because, back then, because, there wasn't as online presence and people talking online all the time, you didn't know whether that was real or not. If you were a
Wrestling Observer, you really didn't know what might
like
happen
me, I didn't know anything. I thought that was
thought it
was a story. I'm like, we're going to finally get to see CW and WWE or WWF at the time merged together. I'm like, this is going to be great. And then I see him on Nitro, which how in the world Eric Bischoff messed up the hottest angle and the hottest guy in the business.
That's another thing we can get into another time, but where Bischoff messed up is he had too many egos with guaranteed contracts that had what Hogan had.
Creative
control.
That's
And
right,
they didn't know
brother.
what to do with Bret Hart.
Yeah.
They didn't, and they had the best.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have put him and Sting working with each other and against
Oh,
each other
man.
for a year-long feud, and
Yeah.
would have been fantastic.
Well, they had the greatest build-up in the history of wrestling and messed it up
Messed
at
it
the
up.
end,
Yep.
brother.
Yeah. Oh, that doesn't work for me.
That
brother.
doesn't work for me, brother. So let's see. Segments, individual segments. I think at the end of the show we should talk about the state of today's wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Where we think it's wrong, where we think it should improve, and try to get viewers back up. And then think we should have our own personal Mount Rushmore, and then
What we actually think.
what personally to us, our favorite wrestlers, and then what we think
Actually
should be the act. Because I'll probably have a controversial take, but I hate to say this. I know I'm in the South, and I might get harmed by this, but I don't think Ric Flair's on that all-time Mount Rushmore. If you look at the overall arching impact, if we're talking the top 5, he's in there, but Mount Rushmore only has 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and hey, and we talked about it off air. I mean, it's something I can talk about for hours, but I'll leave it for next week. But I'm kind of on your page.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Well, I think both of you's crazy. There ain't no way Ric Flair ain't on Mount Rushmore.
I said he's in the top 5,
He's
but
in
we
the
only
top
got
5,
4.
but we got 4.
We got 4.
Well, like I said, I think y'all crazy.
And then I thought we should, because we can share personal stories. Like I told Dusty about the first wrestling show my dad ever took me to. They did a taping of Superstars. So it was just a house show. So I'm thinking, oh, man, Bret Hart's going to be there. Stone Cold was just coming up. He had just kind of started the Stone Cold thing. The Undertaker, all these people are going to be there. I didn't understand how house shows worked back then. So I saw literally 5 Odd Man Johnson matches,
right.
which were as good as they sound. But the best part was they were taping Superstars, and no one knew this, but Roddy Piper came on because the moment his music hit, they talk about a pop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that place in Huntington, West Virginia,
I guarantee
popped.
you, those bagpipes hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I forgot the promo, but I just remember he was on a roll, and my dad even going, "No, this is worth the $40 I burnt just to watch Odd Man Johnson wrestle 5 times."
Yeah, the first one I ever saw was at the Murphy Center. Speaking of the show we had tonight, first one I watched was at the Murphy Center, and it was right after Survivor Series or SummerSlam. Which did the Undertaker debut in? Was it SummerSlam or Survivor Series?
Survivor Series.
Survivor Series.
So
yeah,
it was right after.
that
It was right after that, and I remember my little brother crying when he came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he was still coming out with
Paul Bear.
No,
It was,
no, he wasn't coming out with
Bruce
Paul
Pritchard.
Bear.
It
He was
was
coming out with
Pritchard.
Brother
Brother
Love.
Love.
Yeah, Brother Love.
He was
Love,
still
yeah.
coming out with Brother Love. Paul Bear hadn't. They hadn't found him yet. And I remember my little brother and my little cousin crying. They were scared to death.
I was scared to death when Jake the Snake set the Cobra on Macho Man. I'm like,
I remember that, man. That was crazy.
I remember grabbing my dad, going, "See, I told you this is real."
Yeah.
Oh man, my dad used to tell me, say, "Son, that ain't real. He just punched him 5 times and he's not bleeding."
Well, the best on that Cobra story is listening to Jake the Snake tell the story on how
Joe
him
Rogan's
having
podcast?
to convince Macho Man to let him do it. Okay, well, we're gonna do a little test here, and you're gonna let that
Someone
snake bite
wants
you.
Macho Man's Intercontinental title.
Yeah. He said, "Don't do nothing. You let that snake bite you. I don't want to see any anti-venom.
I want to see.
Maybe he's defanged. Maybe he's not. We're gonna sit here and find out."
Sit there, let the serum go through your body.
And of course, it just made Jake so mad. So he said before that match started, he grabbed that Cobra and just paintbrushed him, just to make him mad. So
Going back and watching
that
the
was-
video,
yeah.
that thing was going to bite anybody. Yeah.
So I can't wait for next week's
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
we
I'm
might
sure
have
we'll-
one viewer that
one
cares
viewer,
about
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, I'll have some trivia, like how well did we know where these guys played college athletics?
Right.
That there's some ones on there I know it's going to catch you guys by surprise. So we'll save that for later. So Clinton, you said you got a rant, so we'll.
Yeah, I take a lot of ribbon on this show. It seems like it's usually a roast about me. Dusty, you've been pretty good for the most part. But usually I take a lot of ribbon. Well, guess who sent out a message, are we doing a show this week, in a group?
Well, I wouldn't. I'll say I'm not good enough yet to be in a
Then
group.
it got confirmed. Well, guess what? I'm here. Okay? There's 3 of you I can call out. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But I'm here. That's my rant. No more roasts on Clint. Clint shows up.
Well, my rant is how awesome Will Pettis is. He created a great documentary, and he showed up to save the day.
Let me tell the folks at home
tonight.
how this went. Ben didn't show up. He was thinking it was tomorrow. Kevin had to be out of town, so we don't have a producer and engineer.
Yeah.
And I knew Will was going to come if all
I
softball
was on
and
the
baseball
road. I was going to get my stuff.
He said he was going to come just because he wanted to see the interview, and we could have talked him to get on here and talk about it himself. But I called and I said, "You still going to come up here?" He said, "Yeah, I'm about to leave." I said, "Bring your stuff with you." He said, "What?" So he went from coming as a fan and eating to turning into an engineer. But thank you again, Will.
Phenomenal job.
Saved the day. So for Dusty Kaiser, Clint Brazier, I'm AJ Good, and for producer extraordinaire Will Pettis. And again, next Wednesday, we will have wrestling night right here. We're just going to talk wrestling, no guests. We're going to get into it. I'm sure we're going to have our own personal beefs, and someone's going to get mad at somebody.
We'll give a little recap maybe in the first segment.
Yeah,
on,
we'll do. Yeah,
local
we'll do
sports
that.
and stuff. What's going on?
And then we'll break into it. We're going to wear our wrestling stuff. If we can still fit into it, we don't know, but we'll find out.
Oh, I can mine. I order new shirts every year.
Well, that's coming up next week. So for tonight, you guys have a great night.
Going the distance with local sports. Covering the Loretto Mustangs, Summertown Eagles, and Lawrence County Wildcats. Basketball, football, baseball,